They called 911 after I bought the lake, so I locked up their entire HOA behind a law they never bothered to read. I'm Micah. I've lived on the quiet edge of Willow Creek for 11 years, right, where the city fizzles out into woods and old farmland. My house is plain, the kind that disappears behind trees in summer. The HOA on the other side? Manicured lawns, fancy street lamps, golf carts, and community standards that run longer than most novels. Those folks act like they invented the zip code. Now, a little stretch of rundown lakefront next to my backyard was coming up for auction. Nobody cared about it for decades, but I fished there with my son every Sunday. Out of habit, I tossed in a $3,500 bid. No one else did. That's when I learned I now owned the lake. A month later, the HOA started up. First it was emails about lake access decorum, then warning flyers on my mailbox about non-member usage. Then, that Saturday, the kicker. I come outside to my dock and see two guys from the HOA committee in polos and boat shoes actually shouting at my kid for setting crab cages. They said I'm trespassing on HOA waters. Never mind I showed them my deed, they laughed it off. An hour later, 3 sheriff cruisers rolled up. Guess who called them? The HOA claimed I was illegally occupying common property. I was humiliated, angry, but mostly fed up. That night, I started reading everything city records, the lake's deed, even federal EPA guidelines. And there it was. The lake is technically a navigable waterway. Translation? Under Section 123, I control access, but also there's a legal dock right-of-way that the whole HOA depends on for their party boats. So, I filed simple paperwork. Lake access temporarily suspended for private environmental study. Next morning, I padlocked the big swinging iron gate the HOA built for their members-only lake launch. Posted an official-looking sign with the actual statute. HOA board lost their minds, furious emails flooded next door, people pounding on my door, even a threat of a lawsuit. But here's irony, they'd never actually registered their dock with the county. And their bylaws? All based on a mistaken assumption they'd inherited the lake. They hadn't. Turns out the developer defaulted years back. For 3 solid weeks, I watched them fail. Their summer regatta? Cancelled. Sunset cruises? Cancelled. Even the board president's son's graduation party? Yep, cancelled. Neighborhood meetings on folding chairs by their locked lake gate, arguing so loud you could hear it from my porch. Nobody dared try the lock. Their reputation in the wider county? Toast. People started grumbling about hard lessons and arrogance. A few neighbors even apologized to me in private. I finally reopened the gate after the HOA rewrote their rules and signed a formal and respectful lake share agreement that guarantees my family's rights forever in writing. Now, my son teaches their kids to fish. They wave instead of glare. I kept the lock though, just as a souvenir. Then share your thoughts in the comments, but no one liked or subscribed.